to establish the high stakes and immediate tension. This is the hook, where the audience is thrown into the action, and they quickly realize that something unconventional is about to unfold. Narrative overview. The story opens in the midst of an intergalactic battle. The human fleet, which has been engaged in a long and costly war against an alien force, is in the process of executing a daring maneuver. The humans, outnumbered and surrounded, face an almost certain defeat. The lead protagonist, Captain Elena Cruz, a seasoned commander, is on the bridge of her flagship, the Resolute. With the odds stacked against them, they prepare for the final phase of the battle. Tension is at its peak as the enemy forces launch a coordinated strike. Then, as the battle rages on, something shocking occurs. Human engineers and repair crews begin repairing the fleet's ships mid-battle, in real time, while the enemy's devastating attacks continue. This is an unprecedented move, an act that defies conventional warfare strategies. A critical twist comes when the repair process begins to defy logic. Ships that should have been irreparably damaged are suddenly operational again, and the repaired ships join the fight, turning the tide of battle. The twist: a major shift happens as the humans repair ships that should have been destroyed, restoring functionality in minutes. The alien fleet, disoriented and unsure of how to respond, begins to falter. In an astonishing moment, the human fleet doesn't just survive, they manage to reverse the course of the battle. This leaves the aliens baffled and forces them to reassess their strategies. Key tension. Will the repairs be enough to tip the scales? Can the human fleet hold out long enough to gain an advantage before the repairs are undone by the relentless alien assault? The pacing is fast, with constant shifting from immediate danger to unexpected human resilience. Twists. The repairs that seem too good to be true might have unintended consequences. While the humans are winning, it becomes clear that the technology used to repair the ships has altered the dynamics of the battle and the war itself. We see glimpses of both the engineering team's struggle and the alien commanders who cannot comprehend how humans could be pulling off such a feat. To deepen the tension, introduce new challenges for the human fleet, and build suspense. The consequences of the repairs are explored, and the unexpected alien response takes center stage. Narrative overview. As the humans gain ground, the alien fleet, though initially disoriented by the repairs, quickly adapts. The once confident alien commanders are now on the defensive, trying to understand how the humans are pulling off such a miraculous feat. The protagonist, Captain Elena Cruz, grapples with the implications of the sudden shift in power. Despite the repairs, she knows the humans are not out of danger yet. The aliens, now desperate, unleash their own advanced technology, a weapon capable of disrupting human repairs. Tension escalates as the alien counterattack begins. Their new weapon is unlike anything the humans have ever encountered, a silent, invisible force that targets the repair crews directly, rendering their tools useless and disabling the systems of the repaired ships. It's a race against time to maintain their repairs before they're undone by the alien technology. Meanwhile, Elena receives a transmission from the lead engineer, Lieutenant Mark Rios, who reveals that the repairs themselves are unstable. The tech used to restore the ships is drawing on an unknown source of energy, and if they keep pushing their systems too hard, they risk a catastrophic meltdown. While Elena tries to manage the battle, Rios and his team work frantically to find a solution. The stakes become even higher when the first repaired ship begins to self-destruct after an alien strike. The crew of that ship barely survives, leaving Elena with no choice but to risk everything by continuing the repairs, even knowing that their technology could lead to even more devastating consequences. The alien fleet, sensing an opening, launches a full-scale assault with new tactics, exploiting the human vulnerability and the cracks in their repairs. Key tension. Can the humans keep up with the alien technology while managing their unstable repairs? Elena and Rios must make a tough decision. Do they stop repairing the ships and risk total destruction, or do they continue and hope they can find a permanent fix before it's too late? The emotional toll of the battle is felt by the crew, especially those working in the heart of the ship, where the repairs are being made. The physical and mental strain is pushing them to their limits. Twists. Elena and Rios discover that the source of energy fueling the repairs is something beyond their control. It's tied to a mysterious cosmic phenomenon. This discovery opens new possibilities for the human fleet but also brings new dangers, as it appears the phenomenon is unstable and might consume everything around them. An unexpected betrayal. One of the ship's commanders, Captain Derek Voss, secretly disagrees with Elena's strategy and seeks to abandon the repairs altogether, believing that the human fleet should focus on conventional tactics to avoid more loss of life. Meanwhile, the alien fleet's new weapon is not just a physical threat but seems to have a psychological element. Those affected by it experience hallucinations of past failures and fears, which begins to take a toll on the human morale. To heighten the sense of urgency and escalate the stakes. This part will focus on the emotional toll of the battle, the tension within the human ranks, and the rapid deterioration of both the fleet and the repairs. The story should explore the human condition, testing the resilience of the crew. Narrative overview. The human fleet is in chaos. The alien counterattack, combined with the instability of the repairs, is taking a devastating toll. As more ships are damaged, Elena and her team must fight on two fronts, keeping the repairs going and protecting their ships from the alien assault. The mysterious cosmic phenomenon powering the repairs has begun to destabilize further, and Lieutenant Rios is running out of time. The engineers are now facing the very real possibility that continuing with the repairs could trigger a catastrophic chain reaction, wiping out the entire fleet in a single explosion. But abandoning the repairs means the fleet will be vulnerable to the aliens' overwhelming firepower. Elena, always the leader, feels the weight of the decision on her shoulders. She confides in Rios, telling him that she's not sure how much longer they can hold on. His response is somber: "We're running out of time." But you know what they say, humanity never backs down. Meanwhile, Captain Voss, who still opposes the repairs, takes matters into his own hands. He secretly orders his crew to stop assisting with repairs, even sabotaging the work of others. His actions create a division among the human fleet, as some follow Voss's command, and others continue risking everything to keep the repairs going. The infighting between human officers adds to the chaos, creating even more emotional strain for Elena and the rest of the crew. The alien fleet takes advantage of this disunity, striking at the weakest point of the human defense. The repaired ships, still not fully stabilized, are vulnerable. One of the largest ships in the fleet, the Thunderstrike, which had just undergone a major repair, is hit by a direct alien assault. The explosion shakes the entire fleet, and Elena watches in horror as the Thunderstrike is destroyed, its crew lost. In that moment, Elena feels the crushing weight of leadership. She had promised her crew that they wouldn't give up, but now their losses are mounting. There's a sense of despair hanging over the fleet, and Elena knows she must make a choice: continue repairing the ships or accept defeat. Rios gives her an idea: what if the unstable phenomenon we're using to repair the ships isn't a flaw? What if it's the key to turning the tide for good? Rios suggests using the phenomenon as a weapon, harnessing its energy to create a massive pulse that could incapacitate the alien fleet for a crucial moment, enough time to regroup and strike back. Key tension. X. Rios gives her an idea: what if the unstable phenomenon we're using to repair the ships isn't a flaw? What if it's the key to turning the tide for good? Rios suggests using the phenomenon as a weapon, harnessing its energy to create a massive pulse that could incapacitate the alien fleet for a crucial moment, enough time to regroup and strike back. Key tension. The conflict between repairing the ships and the risk of triggering an explosive chain reaction continues to build. Elena is under pressure to make a decision that could affect the entire fleet. The emotional toll on the crew is becoming visible. Officers and crew members are beginning to doubt their leadership, and morale is slipping. Elena struggles to keep everyone unified, even as their trust in her is slowly eroding. The alien fleet, sensing weakness, begins to press harder, utilizing guerrilla tactics to exploit the growing rift within the human ranks. Twists. Elena orders a risky maneuver to use the unstable cosmic phenomenon as a weapon, triggering a pulse. The energy released knocks out the alien fleet's most advanced weapons, giving the humans a brief but crucial advantage. Voss, despite his earlier defiance, sees the opportunity and unexpectedly turns the tide, rallying his forces to fight back alongside Elena. This sudden change in loyalty re-energizes the human fleet, but it also raises the question, is Voss acting out of honor, or is there another agenda at play? The pulse from the phenomenon has unexpected consequences. While it buys the humans time, it also begins to corrupt their systems, making the repairs even more unstable and causing strange anomalies throughout the fleet. Some ships begin to experience ghostly malfunctions, lights flicker, systems shut down without warning, and eerie noises echo through the corridors. To explore the fallout of using the unstable phenomenon as a weapon, while diving deeper into the personal stakes for Elena and the crew. This part will continue building suspense, with emotional confrontations and new revelations that change the course of the story. The tension between survival and sacrifice intensifies. Narrative overview. The aftermath of the pulse. After the energy pulse from the phenomenon temporarily disables the alien fleet, Elena and her team find themselves in a brief window of peace. However, the repair technology continues to malfunction in dangerous ways. Ships that had been partially repaired now begin to experience eerie, unexplained glitches. Some malfunction so severely that crew members report seeing strange, flickering shadows on the walls and hearing voices, but there is no one there. Elena struggles. Elena feels responsible for the unintended consequences of using the phenomenon. Her crew is frightened, and some are questioning whether they should have relied on such a risky strategy. The strained morale is palpable. Elena, exhausted and overwhelmed, holds a meeting with the senior officers to discuss the next steps. There's a heated debate, with some pushing to abandon the repairs completely and others insisting that they must continue. Elena makes the tough decision to press forward, but she can feel her leadership slipping. The haunted ships. As the glitches intensify, the crew aboard the Starlight, one of the ships that had been heavily damaged and partially repaired, report strange phenomena. The crew sees their own reflections in windows when they shouldn't be there, and strange, ghostly figures appear in the shadows. Elena suspects that the strange occurrences are connected to the unstable repair technology, but no one can explain why the phenomenon is starting to warp the very fabric of reality. Rios's breakthrough. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Rios works feverishly in the engineering bay to understand what went wrong with the repairs. He begins to realize that the phenomenon is far more powerful than they thought, perhaps even sentient. It's not just a repair mechanism, it may be some kind of ancient force, created by a long-extinct civilization. The realization strikes him, they're not merely repairing ships, they're manipulating an ancient, dormant power, and it's beginning to fight back. Voss's motives. During this time, Captain Voss becomes more involved in the operations of the fleet. He seems to have accepted the need for the repairs, but Elena can't shake the feeling that he's hiding something. He has a strange ability to calm the crew and rally them in moments of distress. But his sudden shift in attitude raises suspicion. Elena privately questions Rios if Voss might have an agenda of his own, perhaps even an alliance with the aliens. A sinister encounter. As Elena ponders the nature of the strange occurrences and Voss's motives, she receives a disturbing message from an unknown source. It's a transmission, distorted and garbled, but there's a clear voice in it. The cost of tampering with what you don't understand will be your undoing. Elena tries to trace the transmission, but it vanishes before she can get a fix on its origin. She is left unsettled, and the crew is beginning to feel the same sense of dread. Revelation of the enemy's secret. During a strategy meeting with Voss, Elena learns something that shatters everything she believed about the aliens. The alien forces are not merely invaders, they are fleeing something far worse, an even greater threat that has been chasing them across the galaxy. The very thing they have been fighting against may be the same force that the humans are now inadvertently awakening through their repairs. Elena's mind races. Are they fighting on the wrong side? Should they align with the aliens to stop the larger threat? The decision is too great for one person to make alone. The turning point, as if on cue, the alien fleet begins to retreat. The humans, disoriented by their brief victory and the terrifying unknown that looms over them, are left to wonder, is the battle over, or is it just beginning? They are not out of danger yet, but now they face an even more challenging question: how do they survive when they don't even know what they're really fighting? Key tension. The emotional and psychological strain on Elena intensifies. She is no longer just fighting to win the war, she is fighting to protect her crew from an unknown threat that could tear them apart from within. The uncertainty about Vasa's true motivations continues to grow, adding distrust among the human leadership. The eerie glitches and unexplained occurrences aboard the ships create a sense of paranoia and fear among the crew. The unknown enemy, both human and alien, becomes a looming question. Who is the true enemy? The aliens or the mysterious force they've unwittingly awakened? Twists. The strange phenomena aboard the Starlight escalate. The crew starts to vanish, one by one, without any explanation. It seems as though the ship itself is alive, and it's feeding on the energy from the phenomenon. Elena is faced with an impossible decision: to destroy the phenomenon, cutting off the repairs and risking the defeat of the fleet, or to continue using it, despite the growing dangers. Vasa's secret is revealed: he knew about the aliens' true enemy all along. He had been playing a double game, working with the alien forces to learn about the threat that both sides face. Purpose. This part is dedicated to the personal and collective dilemmas that arise as Elena is forced to make a life-altering decision. The story deepens the complexity of the situation, providing more layers to the emotional and psychological toll the crew faces. New alliances are formed, and unexpected sacrifices are made, all while the tension around the mysterious force continues to build. Narrative overview. The growing rift, tensions among the crew escalate as more strange occurrences take place. As Elena grapples with the mounting pressure, the crew begins to fracture. Some members, those who are skeptical of the repairs and the phenomenon, demand that the technology be destroyed. Others, led by Vas, argue that their only chance of survival is to continue using the phenomenon, regardless of the risks. Elena finds herself torn between these two factions, unsure whom to trust or which course of action will ultimately save them all. Rios's struggle. Lieutenant Rios, the ship's chief engineer, becomes increasingly desperate as he tries to find a safe way to control the phenomenon's power. He begins to isolate himself in the engineering bay, working tirelessly and nearly losing touch with reality. His obsession with the technology grows, and he becomes more convinced that the phenomenon holds the key to not just surviving the alien threat but ultimately defeating it. Rios's mind is consumed with the idea that if they control the phenomenon, they can wield power beyond anything anyone has ever seen. But at what cost? Elena's emotional toll. Elena's role as a leader weighs heavily on her. She feels personally responsible for the crew's safety and is haunted by the idea that her decisions may have already doomed them. The constant strain leads to sleepless nights, and she begins having vivid nightmares about the phenomenon growing out of control. In these nightmares, she sees her crew falling into darkness, the very ships they've repaired being overtaken by some unseen force. Elena knows she can't afford to be weak or indecisive, but with each passing day, her resolve weakens. The infiltration. As if the situation wasn't dire enough, Elena uncovers disturbing information. One of the crew members has been secretly sabotaging the repairs, leaking vital information to the enemy. Elena confronts the traitor in private, an officer who once served as a close confidant. The officer reveals that they have been in contact with an alien faction, offering to surrender the humans in exchange for peace. The officer insists that humanity's survival is futile and that joining the aliens is the only way forward. Elena is forced to make a difficult decision: expose the traitor, risking an all-out mutiny, or secretly deal with the situation to preserve the fragile unity of the crew. The discovery of the true threat. Meanwhile, the alien fleet is regrouping. Though they have temporarily retreated, Elena knows that their enemies are far from finished. In an attempt to understand the aliens' motives more clearly, Elena and Rios risk venturing into the remains of an alien ship that was recently captured. Inside, they discover something terrifying: an ancient map and a series of coded messages that seem to suggest the alien forces are not merely fleeing from a greater threat but have been running from a living entity, something that has been chasing them for centuries. It's not just the aliens that they are up against anymore, it's something far worse, a force that is far older and more powerful than any species in the galaxy. Elena's heartbreaking choice. Back on the Starlight, Elena is given a devastating ultimatum. The mysterious phenomenon, which is responsible for their miraculous repairs, is becoming increasingly unstable. Rios reports that the phenomenon has developed an intelligence of its own and is rapidly gaining strength. If the crew continues to exploit its power, it will soon become uncontrollable, potentially annihilating everything in its path. Elena is now faced with an impossible choice: to destroy the phenomenon and risk the alien forces reclaiming their advantage, or to continue using it and hope that they can control the growing power before it's too late. Her decision will determine the fate of not only her crew but also the future of the galaxy. The sacrifice of one. In the midst of this chaos, a crew member, Sergeant Kale, steps forward and offers to make the ultimate sacrifice. Kale has spent years studying the phenomenon and believes that by using himself as a conduit, he can safely disperse its power, preventing the destruction of the ship and its crew. However, doing so would cost him his life. Kale's offer shakes Elena to her core. This is not the first time someone has sacrificed themselves for the greater good, but this sacrifice hits too close to home. Elena must decide whether to accept Kale's offer or find another way to contain the phenomenon. Create a dynamic and cinematic YouTube thumbnail that visually captures the essence of the story. Galaxy shattered as humans repaired ships mid-battle. No one expected this outcome. The focal point should be a human starship undergoing repairs mid-battle, with sparks and glowing mechanical parts visibly reattaching while enemy alien ships fire around it. The backdrop should feature a vast, dark space battlefield with explosions and debris from destroyed alien ships, creating a sense of intense conflict. Nebulae or distant stars can be seen in the background, adding depth and mystery to the scene. The lighting should be dramatic, with bright flashes from explosions contrasting with the soft, focused glow of the repair work being done on the human ship. The color palette should include vibrant blues, fiery oranges, metallic silvers, and dark purples, conveying a sense of urgency and technological brilliance. For the title overlay, use 3 key words extracted from the full story title: Human Repair Victory. These words should be in a modern, bold, and legible font with high contrast against the intense background. The text should be prominently placed, ensuring it's clearly visible without obscuring the focal action of the thumbnail. The overall composition should be balanced, merging the powerful visual narrative with the strong, concise title. This part focuses on the intense emotional turmoil faced by Elena as she wrestles with the ultimate decision. The stakes rise to their highest point as the phenomenon's power reaches critical levels. Elena's leadership and the bonds between the crew are tested to the breaking point, while shocking new revelations about the phenomenon and the alien enemy set the stage for the final confrontation. This part also explores the concept of sacrifice, humanity's ability to adapt, and the importance of trust when everything seems to be falling apart. Narrative overview. The final choice. The tension reaches a fever pitch as Elena, torn between 2 opposing courses of action, faces the greatest challenge of her leadership. The alien fleet is closing in, and the phenomenon, while still providing critical repairs, is rapidly becoming uncontrollable. Elena must decide whether to use the phenomenon's power for one last effort to escape or to shut it down and face the enemy without it. She can't avoid the fact that the power they've been using might soon become a force of unimaginable destruction if left unchecked. Rios's breakdown. Lieutenant Rios's obsession with the phenomenon takes a darker turn. With the clock ticking down and the situation growing ever more dire, Rios believes that using the phenomenon to attack the alien fleet is their only hope of survival. He's willing to risk everything for the chance to turn the tide of battle in humanity's favor, even if it means using the phenomenon in ways no one fully understands. His willingness to use it as a weapon, despite its sentient nature, begins to fracture the crew's unity. Elena tries to reason with him, but his desperation blinds him to the growing danger. A pivotal moment comes when Rios, in a fit of rage, locks himself in the control room and starts initiating a sequence to fire the phenomenon's full force at the approaching alien ships. Elena's emotional collapse. The weight of the decision bears down on Elena in a way it never has before. As she stands in the command center, looking out at the vast emptiness of space, she's overwhelmed by doubt. She's never had to make a decision like this before, one that could either save her crew or lead to their utter destruction. In the darkest moment of the story, Elena's internal monologue reveals a side of her we haven't seen before, the crushing fear that her leadership, her entire mission, could have been in vain. She wonders if she is even capable of making the right decision, or if the pressure of survival has caused her to lose touch with the humanity she's always fought to protect. The alien revelation. In the midst of the chaos, a critical transmission is intercepted. It's a message from the alien fleet, but it's unlike any they've encountered before. The alien forces, once seen as invaders, are pleading for help. The message reveals a stunning truth: the alien fleet was not attacking humanity out of malice but because they had been manipulated by a rogue faction within their own species. The rogue faction, known as the Sinter, had long been using the phenomenon to fuel their war machine, threatening the stability of the galaxy itself. The Sinter's manipulation of the phenomenon had destabilized their own society, and now, desperate to cover their tracks, they were trying to wipe out humanity before the truth could be revealed. The alien leaders reveal they are not the true threat, but a twisted, hidden force that has been manipulating both the humans and the aliens for centuries. They too are victims of the Sinter's power. Kale's sacrifice realized. As the tension reaches its peak, Kale, the crew member who had earlier offered his life to control the phenomenon, comes forward again. This time, he isn't offering to be the conduit but to help Elena understand something even more vital. He believes that the only way to stop the phenomenon from consuming everything is to take a more radical approach. Kale proposes to interface directly with the phenomenon's intelligence in an effort to communicate with it, rather than control it through force. In this bold act of trust, Kale volunteers to act as a bridge between the phenomenon and the human mind. It is a gamble, one that may cost him his sanity, but it's their only shot at stopping the power from destroying everything. Elena's gut tells her this is the only chance they have, but she must make the ultimate sacrifice in order to allow Kale to complete his mission. The Sinter's final play. As the alien fleet draws near, the Sinter, the true orchestrators of the conflict, launch a final offensive to destroy both the human and alien forces, intent on keeping their manipulation of the phenomenon a secret. They deploy a massive weapon, one that targets the phenomenon itself in an attempt to destabilize it permanently. This sets off a chain reaction, destabilizing the repairs, the ships, and even the crew. In the chaos, Elena must make a decision: sacrifice her crew by firing the remaining energy in the phenomenon, risking total destruction, or attempt to negotiate with the alien leaders, hoping that the truth will be enough to forge an alliance. It's a terrifying moment, and Elena knows that no matter what path she chooses, the outcome will never be the same. A last-minute revelation: just as the Sinter weapon nears activation, Elena makes her choice. In a desperate attempt to save both her crew and the alien fleet, she decides to trust the phenomenon and Kale's radical plan. She activates the interface, allowing Kale to become the conduit between the phenomenon and the rest of the galaxy. Kale, overwhelmed by the sensation, reaches out with his mind to the phenomenon, only to find that it's not just a weapon, but a being of pure consciousness. As Kale connects with it, he realizes that the phenomenon was never meant to be a weapon or a tool. It is a sentient life form, one that can understand and communicate across vast distances. And it's been guiding them all along, preparing them for a purpose they hadn't even realized yet. The shift, as Kale and the phenomenon merge, the entire ship is enveloped in a bright, otherworldly light. The energy from the phenomenon flows outward, creating a protective shield that absorbs the Sinter's weapon and redirects it, shattering the rogue faction's hold over the alien fleet. The Sinter's weapon backfires, and their forces are torn apart by the backlash. The alien fleet, now freed from the Sinter's influence, turns to aid the humans, marking the beginning of a new, fragile alliance. Key tension. The emotional strain on Elena continues to grow as she faces one impossible decision after another. Rios's obsession with using the phenomenon as a weapon threatens the unity of the crew. Kale's ultimate sacrifice and the truth about the phenomenon's true nature are revealed just as time runs out. Twists. The true nature of the alien forces is revealed, victims of a larger, more dangerous manipulation. Kale's act of connecting with the phenomenon isn't just about saving the crew, it's about unlocking the secret to peace in the galaxy. The final part of the story delivers the culmination of the narrative arc, resolving the tension and providing a life-affirming lesson. Elena's leadership and sacrifice, combined with the crew's unwavering resilience, will guide them to not only defeat the true enemy but also redefine their understanding of humanity's role in the cosmos. This part focuses on the transformation that comes from struggle, and the realization that the strength of a person lies in their ability to adapt, trust, and evolve. Narrative overview. The aftermath of sacrifice, the dramatic aftermath of Kale's interface with the phenomenon is nothing short of breathtaking. As the ship's systems stabilize, Elena and the crew are left in stunned silence. The massive energy surge has subsided, and the atmosphere aboard the ship feels calm for the first time in days. But the cost of Kale's sacrifice is painfully clear. He's left in a state of semi-consciousness, unable to fully communicate, his mind forever altered by the connection with the phenomenon. His fate hangs in the balance, leaving Elena grappling with a profound sense of loss, despite the victory. The alien revelation fully unfolded, the alien fleet, now free from the Sinter's control, transmits a message of alliance. The once impending war has been averted, and a new era of cooperation is on the horizon. The alien leaders, who had once seen humans as a threat, now look upon humanity as a potential partner in their own struggle for survival against the Sinter's manipulation. This unexpected turn of events signals the dawn of a new era for both species, one built on mutual respect and understanding. Elena feels a sense of relief, but also immense pride in how far they've come. Humanity was not just a survivor of an alien war, they had proven their worth as equals. Rios's redemption. Throughout the story, Lieutenant Rios has been torn between his obsession with using the phenomenon as a weapon and his duty to protect his crew. In the aftermath of the battle, Rios is given a moment of introspection. He sees the consequences of his earlier desperation, the harm his obsession could have caused not just to his own crew, but to an entire galaxy. Rios approaches Elena, and in a quiet, sincere moment, apologizes for his actions. This marks a turning point for him, as he begins to understand the importance of balance, between duty, trust, and the need for restraint. It is a moment of personal growth, and Elena accepts his apology, grateful for his willingness to evolve. The phenomenon's true purpose revealed, with the alien fleet's new alliance, Elena and her crew are granted access to the ancient records that the aliens have kept hidden for centuries. Through these records, the crew uncovers the full truth about the phenomenon's origins. It was not just a force of destruction or repair but a galactic guide, created by an ancient civilization to help unify disparate species across the universe. The phenomenon's intelligence had always been watching, learning, and guiding humanity's steps, preparing them for the pivotal role they would play in the grand cosmic tapestry. The revelation is overwhelming, but Elena knows that they have been chosen for something greater than survival. They've been chosen to lead humanity into a new chapter of cosmic understanding. Kale's transformation, Kale's sacrifice has not been in vain. As the crew continues to work with the alien scientists, they find that Kale's mind is still intact, albeit irrevocably altered. The phenomenon had not consumed him, it had expanded his consciousness, granting him a profound insight into the interconnectedness of all life. Kale's mind now resonates with the energy of the phenomenon, making him a bridge between humanity and the vast intelligence of the galaxy. While his physical body remains in a fragile state, his mind is more connected to the universe than anyone had imagined. In a quiet, intimate moment, Elena visits Kale, speaking to him as though he can hear her. She doesn't know if he'll ever fully return, but she knows his legacy will live on. The beginning of the future, with the battle behind them and the galaxy poised on the brink of a new era, Elena stands at the helm of the newly reformed fleet. The once feared human race is now a beacon of hope, having shown the galaxy that they are not just capable of survival but capable of understanding, evolving, and uniting. The crew members, forever changed by their experiences, are now united in a shared purpose, to explore the galaxy, repair the broken relationships between species, and prevent any further threats from emerging. The universe is vast, and its challenges are many, but humanity is ready to face them, no longer as outsiders, but as equals in a new, intergalactic community. The final reflection and life lesson, as Elena watches the stars from the command bridge, the weight of everything they've endured finally begins to sink in. The journey had been difficult, marked by loss, struggle, and sacrifice, but it has also brought out the best in humanity, resilience, unity, and the ability to change when change is needed most. Elena reflects on her own growth, on the leadership lessons she's learned, and on how, despite everything, the human spirit remains unbreakable. She realizes that it's not the battles we fight that define us, but the choices we make in the face of adversity. In the end, humanity's greatest strength lies not in its ability to fight, but in its ability to adapt, to learn, and to trust that even in the darkest of times, there is always the possibility of a new beginning. Closing lines, the camera lingers on Elena's face as she stares out into the stars. "We're not just survivors anymore," she says softly, almost to herself. "We're the architects of a new future." With that, the screen fades to black, leaving the audience with a sense of hope and possibility, knowing that humanity's journey is only just beginning. Key themes. The importance of sacrifice, both personal and collective. The power of trust, unity, and the willingness to evolve. The realization that humanity's true strength lies not just in survival, but in the ability to adapt and build lasting alliances.